Hello, and thank you so much for viewing the Safe Boundaries video for the St. Andrews Family Shelter. We hope that this video can help answer any questions that you have in regards to any interactions you have with the shelter families. To begin, this presentation is going to give you, as a volunteer, an understanding of safe boundaries with the families. We will look at safe touch, language, and discipline with the children. We will also discuss appropriate interactions with the adults. If you have any questions after viewing this video, please direct them to the shelter coordinator. So to begin, we're going to touch on child supervision. We want it to be clear to you as a volunteer that you are not responsible for the supervision of the children. The children should always be on the same floor as their parents. If, however, you find yourself to be alone in a room with a child, should the parents step out or go to another room, we ask that you simply wave another volunteer to come in or wave their parent to come back with them. We ask that there are 2 volunteers in a room with just children to protect the volunteer should a child make an accusation or if a child were to get hurt, which is much more likely. For example, if a child were to be running around and trips and gets hurt, it's really easy for one volunteer to stay with the child while the other one goes and gets the parent or gets help. That's why we ask for 2 volunteers in a room with just children. Again, the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim, but those rare chances come up, and so we just ask that you are prepared that way. When it comes to language, we ask that you please refrain from using any profanity, offensive, or vulgar language. Volunteers' tone of voice should always be soft. We ask that you don't use any harsh tones when speaking to guests. Always stay warm and welcoming with the guests when speaking to them. Oftentimes, our guests are in a high-stress situation, and so it's really nice for them to come and have warm and welcoming voices, greet them instead of harsh tones or people yelling at them. So just reminding yourself to be warm and welcoming is always important. When it comes to discipline, again, as a volunteer, this isn't your primary responsibility. Disciplinary actions are the responsibility of their parent. However, if you feel like you must intervene, please just refrain from yelling at the child. We ask that you use positive redirection. So examples of this would be, Johnny, here we share our toys. Do you think you can let some other kids play with some of those toys? Or remember, we need to use our inside voices when we are in the house. It's simply taking the behavior that they're exhibiting and just shifting it into a positive way, just reminding them of some of the rules or guidelines that are set forth for the shelter. If for whatever reason you do need to raise your voice just to get their attention, to stop them from getting hurt, we ask that you just follow up with either the parent or the child and say, I wasn't yelling at you. I just wanted you to stay safe and I had to get your attention, just so that they know that you aren't mad at them or yelling at them. It's again just keeping that positive, warm, welcoming tone at all times. So when it comes to touching, children thrive on positive touch from those that they look up to. Oftentimes, children will give you a hug as a form of saying thank you for either leading an activity, playing with them, or just volunteering your time with them. So let the child initiate a hug if they want it. If they come in for a hug, you can definitely hug them back, but just be mindful of where your hands fall. We always encourage side hugs, fist bumps, high fives, or touching their shoulder or back to gain their attention, as those are all forms of safe touch. Again, just being mindful of where your hand falls when you're touching their back to gain their attention. When it comes to boundaries with adults, we encourage all volunteers to remember you are there to be good listeners and to be hospitable. You are not expected to solve the guests' problems or help them overcome their barriers. We ask that you do not offer the families money, special favors, or share your personal contact information with them. If someone does ask you for anything, we ask that you please redirect them to ask the shelter staff or their case manager, as they are going to be best equipped to help them get the needs that they need or overcome any barriers that they may be facing. So after viewing this video, again, if you have any questions at all, please direct them to the shelter coordinator when you arrive to volunteer. Always use your best judgment when working with the families staying at the shelter. And these boundaries that we laid out in this video are made to help you feel more welcome and make your volunteering experience more enjoyable by hopefully answering any questions or help settling any uncertainties you may have before starting your first shift as a volunteer at the St. Andrews Family Shelter. Thank you.